We've also been joined by Dr. Usman from Birmingham City University. Can you hear me, Dr. Usman? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good.
Good, thank you. What are your initial thoughts on the budget?
First of all, thank you for having me. I think any fair assessment of this budget must separate stabilization from transformation. To be fair, the government deserves credit for restoring a degree of macroeconomic stability. Inflation has fallen from crisis levels. If you see the foreign exchange reserves that actually have been improved, the current account position is stronger, and Pakistan has remained on track under a challenging IMF program despite, you see, regional conflicts and global uncertainty. Those are meaningful achievements and we have to acknowledge that. However, if you see the stabilization should not confused with prosperity. If we look beyond the headline numbers, the growth remains around 3.7% and investment remains low at around 14 to 15% of the GDP. However, if you see the exports, they are still not growing at the pace required. So foreign direct investment remains modest and debt servicing continues to consume a very large share of government revenues. And most importantly, if you see many ordinary Pakistanis, they still don't feel the benefits of stabilization. Purchasing power, you see, remains under pressure. The cost of living high, and business continue to face concerns and energy costs.
Dr. Usman, we were having this discussion here that government claims that they have moved to growth from sustenance level, from stability level. Do you agree to this claim?
You know, we have been listening for the last 3 to 4 years that we are moving towards the export-led growth. But this budget also reminds us of Pakistan's fiscal reality. The federal government, if you see, they expect around rupees 11.8 trillion in the net revenues. Yet nearly rupees 8 trillion will be absorbed by debt servicing alone. Once defense, pensions and administrative costs, if you add, fiscal space becomes extremely limited. And that's why Pakistan's challenge is not simply raising more taxes.
Dr. Usman, you can comment on this.
Thank you. I think this is precisely where the taxation debate more serious. If the government is saying that a significant part of the additional revenue will come from the compliance, digitalisation and faceless assessment, then in principle that is the right direction. But Pakistan needs to move away from discretionary, personality-based tax administration towards the data-based and risk-based enforcement, because a faceless system can reduce harassment, improve transparency, and also limit collusion between the tax officials and the taxpayer, and that is positive. However, the key question is who will this compliance drive actually target? So if digitalization simply extracts more from already compliant sectors, salaried individuals like we have seen in the past couple of years, formal businesses, banking channels and documented economies, then it will not solve Pakistan's tax problem. It will only deepen the burden on the same taxpayer. The success of this reform will depend on whether it identifies undertaxed and undocumented sectors like retail sectors in this budget, wholesale, real estate, high income agriculture, that is very important, and informal services and parts of the economy. So that is why I often say Pakistan problem is not a shortage of taxes, it is a shortage of taxpayers.
Thank you so much, Dr. Usman, for joining us, and we are back to our pie chart, and over to you, Khurram.